everybody. Hope you're doing well. I felt the need to share with you guys a download that I received in April after one of my friend's deaths. Previously, before he died, about a month before he died, I was receiving communication with the spirit, and I didn't realize that I was receiving communication with the spirit until literally the month before he died. Before that, I was getting the communication, but I didn't know who this communication was coming from. But anyway, after he died, that spirit that was helping me process my emotions with him was then also working with his spirit to help me finish out understanding this whole concept that I'm about to explain. So they wanted to show me in all these different ways how we take on people's energy, because it's such a hard concept to fortify in our brains, right? Like, we can understand it, and then we can understand it on a different level, but then we sometimes forget what we had understood previously and have to keep repeating this fucking loop and doubting yourself over and over again, right? The first spirit wanted me to dig into the Medusa. It says to me, if you think of Medusa, who has snakes on her head, which scared people so bad that they turned to stone. Medusa inevitably thought that she was bad and hid herself because she didn't want people to hurt anymore. I was shown a vision after I asked, who am I? Of a little girl with glasses and pigtails. I seen the little girl. I then asked, well, who are you? Someone else appeared she had like a crown on her head that had horns, like that, right? She appeared, also felt her energy, and it felt strong. She was so freaking beautiful, and you could tell she was just fierce and ferocious, that she was gonna stand up and fight for everything that she thought needed fought for. And this lady replied to me, that is you, who is also me. And at that moment, huge, and I mean huge, I mean like blinding, huge light rays started just piercing from her eyes, from her head, like her whole body was just light beams coming out of it. And from her fingertips, from her heart space, she just illuminated every tiny little speck of space for as long and as wide as anyone looking could conceive. Because this light was so damn bright, she made people mad because she was hurting their eyes. They had no choice but to see all the darkness, to see all that the darkness had once covered. And they could no longer be blind to that dark space that they had once been in. They had to become aware of the light. This woman is not bad. This light is just a part of her. Like the feet are a part of your body, you wouldn't get mad at anybody for simply using their feet and walking away. This lady speaks again and says, Tara, this is who we are. But your light has been hidden for so long because people kept putting their darkness onto you, making you believe that it was your own, which made you forget who that little girl was. Remember who you are and start embodying the star. People go about their entire lives unaware of transference. Other people's strings that make them the person that they are, a whole person. Strings of people get caught onto us and our strings on them and vice versa. When we are unaware of releasing transformation, transmutation of these things, we inevitably take on the essence of them. And they take on our essence. Water changes its form, its actual shape, depending on what kind of objects it comes into contact with. Its memory. Our bodies are made up of 70, I think, percent of water. So what does that mean? That our actual physical bodies would be able to change shape depending upon the people and places and spaces and frequencies that we are surrounding ourselves with. It's a different vibrations making up different things. So it's depending on your vibration, how your actual body will be presenting in form. Have you ever heard of liquid crystallization? This is why we have to be extremely freaking careful with who we're surrounding ourselves with, who we can't make contact with, what things we're touching, what things we're putting into our body, what things we're drinking, what things we're wearing. Know that clothes literally affect your body in ways that you wouldn't even imagine. The material that makes these clothes up gets stuck in your body, in your skin, and literally live on you and affect your skin in the whole. Like you take on a piece of material, you see these things all over me. This is what this is. This is the spirit world manifesting in a way that you cannot ignore any longer. That's what this is all. This is why everything's happening in the way that it's happening. We're not allowed to ignore these things anymore. We have to wake up, because if we do not, we will lose ourselves completely. This energy that's oscillating makes different things depending upon these strings that make up that energy, okay? Some people and things vibrate at such a low frequency, or even just a drastic difference from our own core makeup of strings that when we were born or created, that it, in a sense, makes our regular program end up malfunctioning. Water reflects, will literally and actually reflect an image of something that it was shown 30 seconds before it got frozen. Once it gets to the freezing point, it reflects the image it was shown. The warmest, kindest soul. But somebody rips apart our heart and stomps on it, and we freeze. We're gonna start reflecting their behaviors onto them. Form a grid pattern to form a bigger string of energy. And that bigger string also does this and makes up tiny strings of itself, and then gets more strings of that string, even bigger and so on. These strings that make up just one person can also, in fact, be at the very same time the same strings that make up the entire universe, along with other people. In this sense, we are all one string doing a different part to form the planet, the world, the universe, etc. All things are connected, some small, some big, all just as important, because without the one, there wouldn't be the other, no matter how good or bad that one might be. Okay, so this all was a lesson for me, because I was seeing myself shed these strings, these cords, these attachments for the last 2 years in my head visibly. Like, I've seen it, and even though these strings can't really be seen by people, they can be once you reach a certain vibration where you can see all lower vibrations. And then you can also see everything that's on that same vibration as well. I actually see myself pulling out these strings that aren't supposed to be on me, that don't make up my original essence. I was taking those strings off, okay? Because if you think about it this way, I'm sitting in this chair right now. So this chair is now a part of me. It is now, when I get up from this chair, I'm going to have remnants of that chair's energy makeup on my body. And because I don't take it off of my body or release it, it's gonna be on my body. And it will remain on my body until I release them, okay? So these two spirits then were able to allow my brain to really conceptualize it so that I didn't continue doubting myself over and over again. But my spirit team was actually coming in and basically almost pulling the strings for me with my own hands so that I could see what the fuck was going on, right? And so that I could become more of my own essence in order to do my soul's work. And it says, isn't the universe amazing in the ways that it shows up and acts for us to heal and get back to our original blueprint, our core being, our true self, our power? So skin in the real world sense starts to die when it doesn't get enough moisture. In the spiritual sense, start to die when all of our strings are leaving us. All of our strings that make up our original energy leave us because you're giving this person the confidence boost that they need without receiving any love or attention from them. So your strings are all leaving you, while you're also taking on all of their trauma and all of their crap because you're not releasing them, right? So all of our strings are leaving us, and we aren't getting anything back to keep us remaining as an energy. So essentially, we give out all of our strings that make up who we are as a person. Tara, myself is Tara. Myself as Tara has these cords, these strings that make cords that make the bigger Tara, the body of Tara, right? But when I give out all of my strings to people so that they can feel love and they can feel special and they can feel good about themselves, but yet I'm not releasing their core, I can still be alive, but no longer myself. I'm essentially the makeup. I'm made up of them and them and them and them, because I gave out my power. I gave out my strings to my birth parents, and I gave out my strings to my adopted parents, and I gave out my strings to the fucking 8 boyfriends that I've had. You know what I mean? Like, every time you're giving out love and attention, you're giving away your strings. But you're in that relationship, you're connected to that person, so you're also becoming made up of their strings. You lose your own strings completely and just become them. You're no longer you. So you're here, you're a physical being on this earth, but you're no longer you. You're something else. You're made up of many different things that are not you at all. You died. You, as you, the one that was created, the one that was born, the one that was birthed in the beginning, is no longer that. It's all these other things, all this other crap, all this other trauma, all this other turmoil. So what are we doing? Like, how do we get us back? We start releasing them. We say, I love my birth parents. I can understand the mistakes they made because they were taking on energy that was not themselves. But I don't have to keep them on me anymore. And I don't have to let them keep my love anymore. But when you remove that attachment to them, they don't have the strings that you gave them to help make them up as a person. Until you have embodied your full power, your full true essence, and are being able to give them love, not to be able to receive love back, but to love them because they deserve love. When you love them because they deserve love, when you love them because you recognize yourself in them, that's when you can help them go and retrieve the pieces of their own being back to them and help them release the strings that they are not supposed to be holding on to. Our strings are our ontonic, I said, to the higher realms, our home. And when our strings get clogged, when we lose touch with our body as a whole and with our powers and our ability to we lose our ability to get home and back safely. So we lose our ability to connect with the higher realms, to astral travel, to do the soul work that we're here to do. One part of the world needs to evolve or shift vibrations. The universe, the knowing of all things together in one, knowing we need every piece to make the whole, will position certain people vibrations at the same or just a little bit higher frequencies. At or around the same area. We position ourselves in a grid pattern in order to have an effect on all of the other strings in the middle and outer parts of the grid. Kind of in a grid like this. And it just keeps going like this. And then they have ripple effects, and then the ripple affects the whole. So if one of those strings get bent or broken, it affects the whole as a one. So if we are healed, so is the other. There's no judgments or projections. There's only love. Oh, we're really trying to affect the people in the middle. It also kind of affects the people on the edge, the people on the outer, right? So this person, say it's my first husband, Matt. He's standing here and maybe he's operating about the same frequency as I am. So the universe makes us split up and then positions us at different opposite ends of the town, okay? And his energy field is going out that way, going out this way, going out that way, going out that way. Do you see what it's basically a bunch of X's? But those X's at the same frequency as another X gets bigger and bigger, and then there's another one and another one, and you see? We essentially heal each other being in that relationship. The universe makes us split up so that we then can affect other people and help them ascend and heal themselves. But if we refuse to break up, we stay in that relationship longer, we end up damaging each other further, leading us to go over these loops and do these cycles over and over and over again. And that just creates more trauma that we have to continuously heal. But if you healed, you don't have to take on the wounding of others. You only have to take on the positivity if you choose. But if we aren't healed, we're affecting them in ways that will break them. But even when you are hurting people, you are inevitably healing. You're healing them through the pain you're inflicting. That healing just takes longer. Two healed people working together can affect great change, and so can 2 + 1. Mirrors reflect who you are, but if you don't know who you are, you don't know that that mirror is always a little off. It's only a reflection of who you are. Sweetie, you did your best. Nobody told you anything about life. And you were just going forward with enthusiasm. And you had no idea in your mind how any of it could ever turn wrong. But what you didn't know is that when people come into things with insecurity, they sometimes bring in exactly what they're afraid of. That energy was not yours. That person was so fearful of what you could possibly do to their heart. That they pushed the last energy onto you by constantly having it in their head and in their thoughts and all around their bodies, making the air that you both breathe toxic. You are not to blame. I am not to blame. I forgive you as I forgive myself. I release you. I am not to blame. But I understand your pain. Feel this no more. For you are also not to blame. I release you of love. Be that love and heal. Because now you are seen, and now also heard.